Specialization is for insects. I'm going to assume that you do not want to be a single task robot stuck in a certain position for 50 years of your life so one day you can retire and then finally go and explore your interests for a couple years until you die. But if you do not learn how to take your multiple interests and turn it into leverage, you are going to be on that exact same path. Because society wants to summarize you. We are placed into an education system which teaches us two things. One, how to obey authority, and two, how to memorize. And once you're about done with that, it is time for you to pick an occupation to pursue for, most likely, the rest of your lives. And this is how society has functioned pretty much for the entirety of society. But the truth is, this is outdated. The modern world is no longer built for specialization due to the digital renaissance. In fact, research from Deloitte predicts that people are going to change their careers 3 to 4 times over the course of their lives because one, AI and automation is going to replace a lot of these roles that people are specializing in. And two, the internet has democratized information. People are realizing now that you no longer have to go to a school for 4 to 6 years to learn one specific skill to make one set amount of money and make that until the day you can retire. Therefore, those of us who are more ambitious, which you clicked on the video, I know that's you, are realizing that if you specialize, you are merely a cog in a system created and ran by someone else. Funny enough, someone else who didn't specialize in a specific thing. Therefore, you can either plan for this change or one day you'll be forced into it. So I got hooked on YouTube at a very young age because I was born to a single mother. She was quite busy and I had a lot of free time to just spend staring at a screen. And I became obsessed with the idea of one day becoming like the people I saw on these screens, creators, personal brands. Therefore, the moment I got for Christmas a little iPod Touch, it was the first iPod that had a camera on it, I was making videos. Whatever I was currently interested in, whether it was filmmaking, Nerf guns, Minecraft, fitness, I found ways to make videos about it. Now, I was young, I didn't see much success, I had a couple hundred subscribers at the peak, but my eyes started to become open to the opportunities that came from being a creator, and then I went to high school and the pressures got to me. Everyone was asking me what school I was going to go to, what career path I was going to go to. I started worrying more about grades because they actually started mattering. So I caved in and decided I would be a physical therapist. I enrolled in college. I ended up doing 2 semesters. But one day I was with my girlfriend and I was watching my old videos. I was showing them to her and something emotional became over me and a literal tear dropped down my face. I turned my head. I didn't want her to see it, but I realized that I had let him down, the younger version of myself. I had let his dreams be crushed because I stopped exploring my interests. I thought I wasn't supposed to. But then I realized I didn't want to be a subject under a boss for the rest of my lives. I didn't want to specialize in one singular thing and do that for the rest of my life. Realizing this, I dropped out of school, moved to a brand new city, and started pursuing my dreams of being a creator. And at the time, the content I made was fitness. And while I'd like to say that it instantly started working out, everything lined up, that was not the case whatsoever. I was still struggling, a couple hundred subscribers, couple hundred views per video, but it wasn't impacting anyone. I wasn't turning it into a career, and I was stuck at some regular front desk job at a gym. Fast forward to now, I have a channel with over 220,000 subscribers. I have a solo business that has been fully self-sustaining my life for around 2 years now, and I finally have the life that I've wanted, the life of a creator, which of course is a life of freedom. I spend my days learning and talking about the things I'm interested in. I can pack up a laptop and a camera and fly over to Miami and stay there for a week if I want. I'm actually doing that in like a week and a half. And the cap on both my potential as a person and my income has been completely removed. If I continue to do this, I will continue to make more and more money and help more and more people. And this is because I realize that the path of a creator is the path of a generalist. And because we are living in a digital renaissance, all of the opportunities lie to the digital renaissance man. Your job is not to specialize. It is not to niche down. It is to become uniquely valuable as a creator. But I would be lying if I said that everyone can do this, because the fact of the matter is, the majority of people that try this, obviously, fail. Because they do not know how to turn their interests into a personal brand, into a business, and most importantly, make those interests interesting to others so they can garner attention, which is the current currency of what is literally called the attention economy, which leads to just uploading videos to avoid getting 30 views and ultimately just giving up or staying stuck on the path you're currently on. So for the rest of this video, I will explain how you can take your multiple interests and become a creator and turn this into a personal brand, into a business. Because once you know how to do this, you unlock massive amounts of social leverage. Because a high value, multifaceted skill set is the highest form of leverage you can have in the modern day. Because you become irreplaceable. It is a hedge against inflation. If prices of things go up, prices of you go up. But first, I need you to understand that this doesn't mean have 50 different interests and all scattered in all these different directions, essentially just ADHD all over the place. Because if you have 50 things pulling you in 50 different directions, you're not actually going to move anywhere. Compared to when you know how to combine your interests and create these skill sets, it is a massive lever in a singular direction. And that singular direction is leverage. It's success. So firstly, you need to take stock of all of the things you are currently interested in. And what that's going to do is you are going to create a topic tree. So for me, there are tons of things like psychology, writing, speaking, content creation, and a bunch of others. But once you get these down, you're going to find that you have all these little sub interests underneath that one core interest. Forgot the why. And within those interests, there are inherently skills within those interests. If you are very into psychology, you'll become very good at reading people. You'll become very good at persuasion. You'll become very good at marketing. If you're into content creation, you'll become interested in things like videography, video editing, audio. And what you need to do is find overlap. Let's use Jordan Peterson as an example. He had interest in psychology, storytelling, and public speaking. And all these skill sets can overlap into what he does now, basically. He does public speaking and he tells stories with underlying tones of psychological concepts, and that is his bread and butter. That was his rise to fame. That is what built his personal brand. But then you need to do something that a lot of people won't tell you. A lot of people want to pretend like, oh, you can just have all these interests and just go out in the world and everyone's going to love you for it. But here's the thing. You need to begin mastering these certain skills within these interests. And it's a little foolish to go after mastery of 20 things at once. Therefore, you need to prioritize. Because, like the drawing I made earlier, if you do not prioritize and move all of your mental and physical efforts in one direction, you are going to be pulled in too many different directions, and mastery is not made here. So my journey, the first thing I prioritized, because I actually got a job doing it, was video editing. So I just put a lot of my effort into building this skill. But I didn't stop there. I didn't want to become the best video editor in the world because I'm not a specialist. So then I moved on to videography and started building that skill. And then I learned to speak on camera. And then I learned to write better. And then I learned how to persuade better. And then I learned how to make better thumbnails and better titles. And as you can see, I was prioritizing these one skills at a time and getting fairly sufficient in them before moving on to the next. And when it comes to the idea of mastery, everyone quotes the Malcolm Gladwell book Outliers, where he says you need 10,000 hours in order to achieve mastery, which you do need to put a decent amount of hours into learning these things. But what he doesn't tell you, and that was actually revealed by the researcher that was quoted by him in the book, was that it wasn't just about the 10,000 hours, it was about the specific education the student received. Meaning that mastery isn't just about the time, it is also about the teacher. So for the things you are interested in, you need to go out and seek either literal or metaphorical mentors. Learn from people online, learn from people through books. If you know people in real life that are sufficient in some of these things, ask them to teach you. And if you'd actually like to learn some of this stuff from me specifically, I will include a free Launchpad for creators in the description. I had a student who went through it. I gave him some tips on his packaging and he uploaded a video, and this kid only had 100 subscribers, got 100 views per video, but the next video after he went through this is at 75,000 views currently. So check that out after this video, link in the description. But becoming a generalist, a polymath, a renaissance man isn't enough if you want to thrive in the creator economy. Because there are plenty of people that are pretty good at stuff and make content and fail and have zero personal brand, zero social leverage, and thus zero success. So a question you need to ask yourself before you even start, before you even make an account on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or whatever, is ask yourself, who specifically do you want to help? Because if you skip this question and you do not have crystal clear clarity on this, your content is going to fail. Your brand will not be strong. When my other channel, which was self-improvement content, started blowing up, it was during the phase where I had clarity on exactly who I was speaking to and the strategies required to make that content compelling to them. And at the time, it was essentially someone who was like me about a year before I started making that content. And because I knew that, I knew exactly how to hook them into videos, how to package videos to draw them in, how to perspective shift them to see things my way as I see them now, and how to make my interests interesting to them. For example, I knew the audience that was watching my videos aren't that into meditation. They don't know much about it. They may think it's wooey nonsense. So I didn't make any videos titled 10 steps to meditate, how to become a meditator. Instead, I made a video like how to get ahead of everyone in 3 to 9 months, because I knew that this person wanted status from achieving things, wanted to be successful, and thus would click on something like that. But then in the video, I could then say that one of the steps to this is developing something called metacognition. And the way to develop metacognition is through meditation. All of a sudden, I made them interested in my interests. And the way you do this is by knowing exactly where your audience's awareness currently lies. So in business and marketing, there's a concept called the 5 levels of awareness. The bottom level, which is inherently the most broad, is unaware, meaning that they are completely unaware of the problems that they have, and they are completely unaware of any solutions you may have to these problems. A step above that is problem aware. They know they are facing some problems in their lives, but they're not really sure how to solve them, who can help them, what they need to learn. And then a step above that is solution aware. They know that there are solutions out there. They've heard some of these different options they can take to solve some of their problems, but they're not sure which solution to take, and they're not sure that you, the creator, has the solution for them. Then there is product aware. So in business, this obviously means they're aware of the product you're selling, but in terms of content, this means that they are aware that you have a solution, but they don't have all the details yet, or they're not fully convinced on it. And then finally, there is the most aware. They know of you, they know of your solutions, they know it's right for them, and they are pretty much ready to take action. Every time you make a piece of content, you need to know where on this level the audience is. So in my previous example, back in 2023, when my content was blowing up, I knew that my audience was problem aware, but that was pretty much it. So it was my job to package the content, write the hooks, poise myself in a way that would draw those in that are problem aware, and then throughout my pieces of content, I take them up the levels of awareness. So for that specific meditation example, they came in because they simply want to get ahead. They're struggling in life. I had other videos that were about struggling with discipline, struggling with focus, things like that. And then throughout the video, I get them to the point of they become aware of a solution, that is meditation, and then aware of my specific form of meditation. And then they ended up getting my free 5-day meditation guide I offered. And I see this all the time with creators, is that they don't know where their target audience lies. Therefore, they pretty much wing it on a content-to-content basis, on a video-to-video basis. Which, don't get me wrong, sometimes it's okay to go broad. You may get a video that gets over 400,000 views and makes you $1,500, like I recently did. But other times, in order to attract a more specific person, because ideally you have a clear vision of this audience avatar, you need to call out their problems specifically. And this is under the context of being a educational type creator. You're helping people learn about the things you're knowledgeable about. They're learning about your interests, and eventually they're going to learn the skills that you've developed so that they, with your help, can get to their future vision. And the future vision is the desired outcome that your audience has, and that is actually a core ingredient when it comes to building a personal brand that will actually grow, build a cult-like community, and make you money. And you don't actually need to blow up or go viral in order to have an extremely profitable personal brand. But there is 5 principles you have to know in order to make your personal brand compelling enough to actually attract your ideal audience, get them to like you, get them to subscribe, get them to watch your stuff, and eventually get them to purchase things from you so you can create a business. So to learn that, click the video on the screen right now where I reveal the 5 principles that are going to build a bulletproof personal brand for you. This is exactly what I did to create a life-changing income, and I give it all away for free in this video and a cool free thing in the description that you can use as well. So go over there. Okay, love you, bye-bye.